everybody. Get into the chat. Make yourself known that you're here, who's here, and how we doing tonight. All right, tonight we're on one surface, and there's a few things I would like to straighten out with Mr. Stick Control book, Mr. George Lawrence Stone. The brilliance of George, of Mr. Stone, like I know him personally, right? One thing I wish, maybe if he was still alive, I would absolutely study with him. But he's not, so my second wish would have been to be a fly on the wall when he was giving Joe Morello lessons. That should have been very interesting. So whoever's here, just say hello, please. And I'm going to be working with the stick control book tonight, half strokes. I do have a video on YouTube if anybody is inclined to watch the full stroke video. What it is stick control book, step one. How I attack, or my approach, or the way I learned how to do stick control book from Joe Morello, who learned from George Lawrence Stone. Now, if you open the book, it says repeat each exercise 20 times. I don't play that. I don't go with that. And I don't know why it's even in there. Now, I'm just going to review a little bit the full stroke and tell you the objective of the way George Lawrence Stone intended the stick control to be played. A full stroke. Notice, first off, before we go into this, you should know what the full stroke position is, the half stroke position, and the quarter stroke position. The first movement of George Lawrence Stone is the full stroke. I throw the stick down, she comes right back. Both sides. Now, the first sticking pattern is the right, left. It's in eighth notes. How I approached this, or the way I was taught how to do this, was to play the line, repeat the line, and vamp for 4 measures. Now, if people don't know what a vamp is, I'm playing 4 measures of whatever hand I end with. The first line I end with the left hand, so I would play a 4-measure vamp. All it is 4 measures of constant eighth notes. I'll do it with my right hand. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 2 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 3 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now I tag that. I really wish you guys would say hello or something, so I know who I'm teaching tonight. I tag that at the end of each line. Whatever hand I end with is the hand I do a 4-measure vamp. Now, the objective is to make the right side and the left side sound the same. Now, I'm guilty of playing sometimes 2 different sounds. So I have the option with that. Do I make my right hand lighter to go with the left, or do I make my left hand heavier to suit the right? The object is to make the right hand and the left hand equalized, equal in strength. It takes a lot of work and a lot of time. There is no accents. That's number 1 throughout stick control book. He goes to the, how you doing, Paul? The accents are in accents and rebounds, which I haven't really touched that book in quite some time, only because I'm focused in on Joe Morello's Master Studies 1 and Master Studies 2. And all that is a continuation of stick control book with accents. And with accents, you get into phrasing and developing attacks and really executing levels. Who's this now? Oh, we got a crowd populating. Sure, I'll do that, but let me talk about the stick control book first. He wants me to explain accents. That's the level system, and right now there's only going to be 3 levels that I'm using here. That's the full stroke, the half stroke, and the quarter stroke. Now, I'm going to start with line 1. I'll play a couple lines. And like I said, I'm going to play the line. I'm going to repeat the line. Now, the hand I end with is the hand I'm going to vamp with. Now, you want to avoid starting here and going like this, lifting. I mean, you are playing a sticking pattern, but you're not going to go anywhere. My whole thing is, if you're going to practice where you're going to get the most out of it. Make the stick do the work for you. Okay? Now I'm going to put the metronome way down on 60. That should be a happy home right now. On 60. Now 60 is going to be the quarter note. And when I say quarter note, that's beats per minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2. Now I'm going to play the first line and tag the vamp, all in full strokes. Now occasionally you're going to hear maybe my left is a little lighter, maybe my right hand is a little lighter. I want to equalize them, like 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. That's 8th note. 1, and 2, and 3, and repeat, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. One more time. And 1, and 2, and 3, and vamp. And 1, and 2, and 3, 4, and 2, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 3, and 2, and 3, and 4, 4, and now 4, and 2, and 3, and line 2, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 1, and 2, and 3, and repeat, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4. One more time. 1, and 2, and 3, and vamp, and 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 2, and 2, and 3, and 4, and 3, and 2, 3, and 4, and 4, and 2, and line 3, and play. Watch. 1, and 2, and 3, and 4, and so on and so forth. I'll try to travel around down the whole page. Now, I approach this as it's a warm-up exercise. But notice I wasn't lifting the stick and then throwing it down like this. Okay? That's a waste of energy. And what happens with that is you're not allowing the stick to do what it wants. It's just a stroke down. It's a science. It's the law of gravity. For every action, there's an opposite reaction. I threw the stick down, she came right back. So I'm allowing the stick to do what it's supposed to do, yet I'm controlling that. Okay, so it's all full strokes. You're equalizing the right, you're equalizing the left. I have the video, stick control book, step 1. And I'll do the whole page, when I practice myself. I'm not going to sit here and do the whole page. It's going to take about 25 minutes. But that's my approach to that. Now, you need to understand, you have to allow that stick to do what it's supposed to do. The next movement I'm going to do from the full stroke is the half stroke. Now notice my sticks are equal distant to the drum. I'm not lifting and then throwing. That's an unnecessary move. And what's going to happen with that is you're going to produce an inconsistent sound. If you come down from the same spot, you're going to produce the same sound, theoretically. Okay? And that's what you need to train yourself to do. And besides, if you're going to take it at 190 or 200 beats per minute, you don't have time to go like this. And that's a waste of time, and it becomes very stiff, inconsistent in sound. And that's a waste of time. So I'm going to put the metronome. Let me go make a happy medium, make 140. Now, I played 60 as the eighth note. I'm going to play 140 as the quarter note. And when I say quarter note, that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Same principle, but a different sticking height. And I'm going to do 5 or 6 lines. 1, 2, 2. Look at the sticks. 3, 2. I'm not lifting up. I'm letting them do what they want. 1, 2, 3, 4. Not what they want. 3, 2, 3. Always that same height. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, 3. Vamp 1. 2, 3, 4. Line 3. 1, 2, 3. Same height. Same sound. 4, 2, 3, zap 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, vamp 1, 2, 3, line 5, 4, now I did one more extra vamp. Here we go, line 5, equal sound. 4, 2, 3, vamp 1, 2, 3, 4, line 6. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, 3, 4, 1. So on and so forth. Now, you see the principle there, gentlemen? Paul, do you see that? Do you guys know how to count a 4-measure vamp? The counting? If not, I'll explain it. You should actually feel it. And it's essential that you play this with a metronome. See, you're not incorrect when somebody says, well, say, play line 5. You're not incorrect by going like this. But it's totally unnecessary. Lifting and throwing, lifting and throwing, lifting, throw. You know, I've been teaching for a long, long time, and I don't like to argue. This is my approach. This is what I was taught by Mr. Joe Morello, who was taught by George Lawrence Stone. Okay? It's labeled as molar, or even this seesaw method, which is the Adler system. I call it the Adler system because that's how I learned that. And that's a waste of time. Molar, I don't know what that is. All it is an exaggeration of the laws of physics. Somebody goes like this, that's an arm stroke. They whip it, that's not a whip, it's a pump. Now I'm not going to get into that. I'm not going to create a problem for other drummers to argue with me because I don't want to argue. I'm too old, I don't have the time. Okay, so now, that was half strokes. If I up the tempo, for example, let's go to 180. Now 180 is going to be, it's not a fast tempo, but it's up there. You don't have time to go like this. It's too fast. Here's my quarter note. 1, 2, 3, 4, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. Quarter strokes. Closer to the drum. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at the height. 3, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 2, 4. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4. Line 3. 4, 2, 3, vamp. 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4. indicate that any place you want. I'm still thinking eighth notes. I'm going to ask one more time. Do we all know how to count a four-measure phrase? 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4. Do we all know how to do that? I would like to have some response with that one. It's either yes or no. Now, when you practice, you can practice for 10 hours and do everything like totally not the way you're supposed to. And you're not really practicing. All you're doing is reinforcing what's not right. If you practice for 15 minutes correct, you've accomplished something. You have to allow this stick that you're holding to play the drum to do what it's supposed to do under your supervision. Now, I'm not a supervision. I don't want to sound like El Costapo or whatever, or Costapo, whatever. I control the stick, and that's what we're going to talk about now, because the question is about accents. Is that your question? Let's see. Okay, accents. Well, accents, it's natural to play accents correctly. Incorrectly only because everybody has their own approach and labels it this way, labels it that way. Studying with Joe Morello is a natural approach to drumming. Now, we're not talking about playing with the band. We're talking about the science, the concept of the stroke. And this is the mechanics of a stroke. If I stroke from this point, it's a loud sound. Louder than this. If I hit like this, I'm pounding. I don't want to pound. I want to be relaxed at all times, no tension at all. Example, if you get a little kid and he wants to be like you, he wants to be a drummer, and he comes in and he plays this. And you say, yeah, that's really good. Play one note harder or louder. He naturally would go like this. Naturally. One stick would come up higher to attack from this point, and all the other strokes would be equalized. I have the video on the level system. Okay? The level system, it's a breakdown of what's natural. And I label it, or I don't label it, it's what it is. It's called a free stroke. I'm in the full stroke position, but it's a free stroke. I have a downstroke. It's a control stroke. I prevented the stick from coming up. Okay? Now, the next movement would be a tap. The next movement would be an upstroke, hitting the drum and coming back to the full stroke position. So I have free stroke, downstroke, tap, and upstroke. Now, one of the easiest ways to explain that is the paradiddle. Right, left, right, right, left, right, left, left. I have an accent on the first note of the paradiddle. So I'd have 1 and 2 and 3 and now in the motion of the level. Down, up, tap, tap. Down, up, tap, tap. Now, that sounds bad. That doesn't cook, that doesn't bing it. I want to play the drums, I want to be like this guy or that guy, but ain't gonna bang all that shit. You want to learn the mechanics of what you're doing. So you understand the mechanics, you go forward. If you're going to prevent yourself from going forward, you're not doing the mechanics correctly. You're preventing what occurs naturally from occurring. So, if I play a paradiddle like that, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and I break it down, I take a video of that at that speed. I'll slow it down. It's a paradiddle. Now, I take a video of that and play it back, but in slow motion, almost standing still. This is what you're going to see. That's what's occurring. In reality, the slower you practice this, the stronger it becomes. Because all you're doing is reinforcing what's natural. I'm not preventing the stick from doing what it's supposed to do. Anytime I play an accent, there's a different movement there. If I want one sound, I do have an exercise that I've come up with from the stick control book, again, and I reference from the stick control book. And I also, what inspired me to do this was, in Master Studies 2, Joe Morello has his warm-up, one of his warm-up routines. He has 1,000 of them, but this one in particular. If I'm playing eighth notes, one level, one sound, I'm counting 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, okay? Now I want to accent 1, 2, 3, 4. Something has to happen. I'm getting the same sound, no accent. So I have to put myself in position to hit an accent and back in position to do the tap. Down, up, down. So I got 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm not hitting hard. I'm just coming down fast in tempo. I get it. Do you understand that concept, the levels? I do have a few videos on the level system. A friend of mine, Jeffrey Johnson, sent me his publication, The Level System. I don't know, it's someplace around here. I'll show it to you next time. He did a magnificent job of explaining the levels. It's just, I'm sorry. If I do a triplet, there's no whip here, it's from the wrist. Down, tap, up, down. Triplet, 1 and 2 and 3, 4, 1. That's the level system. Anything I play, you use the level system. And you use it now, you don't even know it. Can you imagine if you knew how that level exists inside of what you're playing and you practiced that level system, how much cleaner you would be. That's why everybody says, hey man, your hands look nice and you're very clean. Well, you know, it's not that, you know, it's great of greatness, but it's practicing correctly. That's all it amounts to. Okay, do we have any questions on anything so far that we've done? Now there's like 5 or 6 people watching, only 2 are interacting. Can everybody come forward and say boo or something or whatever? Is there any questions to this point? Okay, Paul, good. Now, like I was explaining last night, Paul, the site is going to be not closed down. The site's going to remain open, but the streaming company that I deal with is moving their equipment to another building. So it's going to take maybe a week or 2 weeks before it goes back onto the site again. We're going to continually do this platform, the YouTube. In the afternoon, it's going to be one surface. In the evening, it's going to be drum set. Is that okay with you, Mr. Paul? Alishka, is that how you say your name? Is that okay with everybody? Alright, no questions. Alright, I want to do a little fun thing before I close up. Still back to the stick control book. If you have the syncopation book, you can do it with the syncopation book as well. But I normally start first off with, what is this? Alright, I can do that. Alright. He would like me to explain the downstroke with the wrist and the fingers. I don't know if there's that's the push and pull method, I guess. I'm not really familiar with that. So I'm going to have to pass on that so I can work on presenting a presentation for that. But from the wrist, it's the wrist. I mean, my whole arm, all right, my whole arm is totally relaxed, okay? And look at the arm as levers. You have a joint here, and a joint here. They're levers. They all have to work in unison in order to perform correctly. The fingers, the only thing I ever do with fingers is this. And the fingers, when I go to my fingers, my wrist is saying help. So that's why I use the fingers. Same thing with the left hand. I mean, if you want to see somebody use a left hand of greatness, I mean, you know, I've never seen anybody like this. It's Tommy Igoe. Tommy Igoe has that thing down where he learned it from, I forgot his name. I'm sorry. One of his drum corps, Dennis DeLucia. He learned it from him. He does not a push and pull, but he uses these two fingers back and forth, and his left hand flies. Now, if I'm using one stroke, if I have to come up in order, and that's the push and pull, like this, I guess. How do you do the push? I have to do that I'll get that together, all right, the push and pull. I'm not very familiar with that. I apologize. But it's a great technique. I don't have any use for it, but you never know when, so you might as well work with it. But anyway, I want to share the next exercise. Were you here this afternoon? Alex, can I call you Alex? Alexia? I'm sorry, I can't pronounce that. Can I call you Eliska? Can I call you Alex? Would that be okay? No response. Okay. But if you were here, okay, I'll call you Alex. Okay, good. Thank you. It makes it easier for me. Were you here this afternoon? Alex. I do have a PDF I use accents from Stick Control Book as a reference. Line 1, all the rights. I'm playing under alignment like this. 1, 2. That's constant. Hold on. That's constant. And if you want the PDF, when you come back, I'll give you the PDF. When you come back, we'll do a lesson on that one. So email me, okay? All right, so now what I want to do, I want to share this next exercise with you. And it's great for the hands, right side and left side. What I do, I'll constantly play eighth notes, say, with my left hand. 1, 2, and 3, 4. But notice how relaxed. I'm not throwing down, lifting up. I'm just letting the stick rebound, letting the stick do what it's supposed to do. See it? So I'm playing eighth notes. I'm going to go to the Stick Control Book, and I'm going to play line 1. I'm going to reference off the Stick Control Book. I'm going to eliminate all the lefts. So by me doing that, I'm just going to play all the rights, which would, if I do line 1, and I'm going to play it here. All the rights would be 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. If I go to line 2, again, I just reference off the line, I eliminate the lefts, and wherever the right is, I play the right. 1 and 2 and 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Line 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and. Line 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 4 and. Line 5, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Line 6, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Now, I'm going to be playing eighth notes here. And I'm going to run down at least 5 lines of or 6 lines of the Stick Control Book playing the rights against this. Now when I do that, see, there's some sort of coordination, yes, and you should play it on your drum set, playing eighth notes on the snare and playing the right hand as all the rights, whether it be on your floor tom tom, on your small tom toms, or moving it around, having some fun for different sounds. But the objective is to strengthen the left hand. Now you say, well, I'm moving all the rights around. Yeah, you're playing against it. You're challenging that left hand to maintain itself. So I have my left hand happening. I'm going to play my rights here. I'm not going to play it too fast. Let's use a metronome. Let's go to 150. That's my quarter note. 1, 2, I'll play eighth notes. I'm going to play line 1 for a while. Remember, all the rights on a different surface. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. I'm going to go to line 2. Yeah, that left hand is working. Line 3. Line 4, 1. Line 5. That's 6. 7. And now I do it to the left side. I keep my left hand. Let's see what's going on here. Nobody's here. I do my left side. Now you can do the same thing with the right side. Play your eighth notes here, and this time eliminate the rights and play the lefts with the left hand. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's line 1. Line 2. Line 3. 4. Line 5. I think that's it. 1, 2, 3. 1 and 2 and 3. And you come up with some astounding things here. So you're actually what you're doing is you're challenging yourself doing the vamp. Let me ask you some questions. Do we all understand how I approach the stick control book with the vamps? I do the line, I repeat the line, and whatever hand I end with is the hand I vamp with for 4 measures. Do we all understand that, gentlemen? Yes? No? I mean, it's pretty sad if you don't understand it and not say anything. Okay, Paul, you do understand it. Okay, good for you. How about you, Alex? Do you understand it? And whoever's hiding behind the computer and not responding, okay, good. You have my email, right, Alex? You should email me. I'll send you some PDFs. And if you want to sign up for my site, feel free to do so. Okay, with that being said, and I think it's a 40-minute lesson, I apologize, but it is like 9:15. We started, it's a 45-minute lesson. Alright? Alright. It's Matt. Well, if you say you will, it's going to cost you $19.99 per month. Now, with that, you're going to go into the student section or the member section, and I have PDFs in there from day one. It'll take you about 3 or 4 days just to download all the PDFs. So I think that would be a good move. And then next month sometime, the site will be, excuse me, the site will be back with the streaming company. In the meantime, I have no choice really but to do it here until then. So I hope everybody does understand. Okay. So, gentlemen, next time I will be back is going to be Monday at 1 p.m. and Monday at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. I just might, if you like to search my channel, if you're subscribed to my channel, go and check out some of the past lessons on the level system, accents, um, the stick control book. I haven't made stick control book part 2 yet, which would be the half strokes. I should be able to make that in a few days, and I'll put that on my site. As in, if you guys are on Facebook, it'll be in Facebook under Matt Patellas live instructional videos. Okay, gentlemen, no questions before I close up. Everything is okay. Alex, you have a good night. Mr. Paul, you have a good night. And whoever else is here, have a good night as well. It's actually better, really, to interact in the chat. At least make fun of me or something. And I hope I helped out. So with that being said, I'm going to close it down. Have a good night, gentlemen, and thank you for coming.